Hi everyone, welcome back to .NET Lovers. This is Nikhil, and in this video we are going to look into low level design of a event bus. So what is an event bus? We'll get more details in further slides. So without wasting any time, let's get started. This is our problem statement. It says design an event bus which allows clients to subscribe for an event and publishes events to subscribers when an event is received. So there are two things, one is subscriber and another one is publisher, and we have to design one event bus which allows subscribers to subscribe for an event, and whenever a publisher publishes an event, that time this event bus would look into the subscribers which are subscribed for that particular event and publishes the event to respective subscribers. And three bulleted points are here. Subscriber should be able to subscribe for an event, and publisher should be able to publish an event, and subscribers should receive events they subscribe for. So event bus is nothing, just it as a message or event broadcaster, you can say, which will broadcast the events to the subscribers whenever a new event occurs. Moving on to next slide. So these are the points I have, and this we already discussed in previous videos, how we can approach any design problems. So I'm going to straight dive into these points in detail. First one is ask question for details. So you can ask some questions whatever you have to the interviewers, like can a customer subscribe for more than one event, and similar to that you might be having other questions you can ask. Next one is list important entities. Three entities I can think of here. First one is event bus itself, and second one is subscriber data. So we'll get into the details what exactly subscriber data or what it can be. And next one is event handler. So the data structures we can use for the event bus, we are going to use a dictionary where we'll store events and their respective subscribers. For one event there are multiple subscribers, so this is the list of subscribers. So if I want to find a list of subscribers for an event, I can just fetch in O1 time using this dictionary. To store subscriber data, we can simply use a class object, and event handler is just a delegate. So this event handler will be executed whenever we receive an event. So we'll get into details when we look into the code. Moving on. So here we have to think of logic, how we have to put all these things together. So suppose there are multiple subscribers, subscriber 1 to 4 are there, and this is the event bus we have. And in event bus, how we are going to store each subscriber is using a dictionary. So this is the event 1. For that event 1 I have a list of subscribers. So here you can see subscriber 1 and subscriber 2 are subscribing for event 1, and we have one publisher. So this publisher will publish events. So suppose this publisher publishes one event called event 1, and here we know already that event 1 is subscribed by subscriber 1 and subscriber 2. That's why this event bus going to notify subscriber 1 and subscriber 2 here. Now to understand this whole flow, let's think of an e-commerce website. An e-commerce website environment might have multiple microservices which might be doing multiple things. So there might be multiple events happening every second in this e-commerce website, and to process those events there might be different microservices. Suppose someone buys a new product, or someone wants to get installation done for a recently bought product. So in that case there might be a different service to handle new order, and there might be a different service to handle the installation. So how this system is gonna work? And to solve that, what we can do is we can create an event bus, and we can host it as a microservice, and all the different microservices will be subscriber to this event bus, and they will let this event bus know what kind of event they want to subscribe for. and e-commerce website will work as a publisher. So whenever a new event comes, it will forward that event to this event bus, and this event bus already knows what and all are subscriber for that particular event, and then it will just notify those subscribers. So this is how this whole system will work here. Moving on to next slide. So any design patterns can be applied. So here one design pattern, publish subscribe pattern, can be applied here. I have given link of publish subscribe pattern. You can go and read that article before getting into this design. Last one is unit test cases. So there might be hundreds of unit test cases. Few I have added here, like subscriber should be able to subscribe to an event, publisher should be able to publish event, and subscriber should be able to receive notification when subscribe event occur. Yeah, this is about slides. Now we'll dive into the code and see how we can design this event bus. Here is my project solution. There are multiple projects in this solution. So first one is event bus.library. So this is the important one. This only has the actual implementation of event bus. Then there is this message broker. Basically this message broker internally reference this event bus.library only. And then we have publisher and subscriber. So we'll get into each one by one. So let's get started with event bus library. Okay, so first class I have here is this base event. So whatever events we are going to create, we are going to derive those events from this base event. So this now has only one thing, that is ID, and this is the abstract class. So we obviously have to extend it and create multiple events out of this abstract class. So next file is iEventBus interface. So here I have three methods: subscribe, publish, and unsubscribe. So we have to implement these three methods in our event bus. And if you see this generic type, it is a type of base event. So here, as I said before, we are going to use dictionary of type and list of subscribers. So first I'll show you what is the subscription. So subscription is nothing but it has two things, one is token and one method called publish. And here this is the implementation of subscription. So here what I'm doing is I am keeping one event here which takes two input. One is T event, that is basically our base event if you see here, and another one is event arguments. So event args is the internal class provided by .NET framework. So I'm just using it, and this is the token. So each subscription will have token. So in case if they want to cancel the subscription, they have to pass that token and will validate that token, and then only will cancel the subscription. So this subscription takes this event handler as in and keeps it here, and it also takes token and keep it here in this object. Okay, and when we call this publish method, basically this event handler is executed. So let's go back to event bus. So here I'm initializing this subscription, and there are this token utils class is there. So this class basically is used to generate new tokens and all. We'll look into this class later. So this is the subscribe method. So here we have to provide one event handler. So whenever any event occurs, right, so that time what method we want to execute, that will be delegated to this event handler. And here I create a new object of this subscription. I'll pass this newly generated token here, and this is a subscription object, and I'll add these subscriptions into this dictionary. If this kind of event is coming first time, I'll have to add this type of event here, and I have to create a new list of this subscription. If it is already there, then I'll just simply add that subscription, and I'll return this token to the client. Next method is publish. So in publish, just I'll take this event and event arguments. It is similar to what event handler we have written here, right? It takes two inputs, t event and event arguments. So I'll just get those subscriptions which are type of this event, and once I get list of all those subscriptions, I'll just call publish method for those subscriptions. So basically it will execute that event handler we stored in this subscription object. And last method is unsubscribe. So unsubscribe basically takes token ID and event type, and for the event type first it will get all the subscription, and then it will check if any subscriber is there with this token ID, and once I find it, I'll just remove that subscription. So this is how I remove subscriptions. Let's move to other files. So we already have seen subscriptions and token utils, right? So token utils only has one method, that is generate new token. So here we are generating a new token and generating new GUID and setting it to token ID and returning it. So this is token utils. Token class has nothing but one string token ID, that's what we are setting here. And the last one I have is the event startup class. So in whichever project we are referencing this library, we simply have to call this add event bus from the startup class, and it will add these dependency injections as a singleton. So token utils and event bus it is adding. That's it. Now I will close all these files. Now let's look into our message broker project. So this is a web application or web API you can say. So here in the startup class you can see I am calling this add event bus, what I have shown you previously. Okay, so this will add this event bus and configure it in this project. Now I'll show you the event controller. So this event controller has two endpoints, one is subscribe and publish. So subscribe will be used by subscribers and publish will be used by publishers. So let's get into subscribe first. In subscribe endpoint we are taking this subscribe payload as input. Let's see what and all things are there in this payload. So one is type. So you have to give event type, which kind of event you are trying to subscribe, and this is the callback. So here subscriber will provide how event bus is gonna communicate it when event occurs, which is subscribe for. So let's see what and all callback has. So callback has one thing is callback URL and another thing is callback method. So whenever an event occurs, so basically based on this HTTP method, it can make a HTTP post or get call to this URL and post the data. So this is the callback we have. So this is what I was talking about in my slides also, that what is the subscriber data. So this is subscriber data we have. So here if I go back to this controller, here I'm just calling this subscribe method of this event bus. So you can see this event bus is injected in this controller. So here I'll be calling this subscribe method and I'll be checking the type here first. So if it is a address change event suppose, or if it is an installation requested event, so based on that event I'll be adding handler to that. Handler we talked about, right? So handler is a method which is gonna be executed once this event bus receives that kind of event. So if you see the event handler, basically it is creating object of that callback manager and passing callback in this callback manager. So what callback manager has? Callback manager has all the ways to communicate. So we have only two ways, get and post now. So for get it is just adding payload in URI and calling this URL using HTTP client, and in post we are just posting this event data to this callback URL what is provided by subscriber. Now I have callback manager. So I'm calling this call async method. Basically it will post the data to the subscriber, and we are checking response here. If it is okay, then we are not printing anything, but if it is not okay, then we are going to print the failed message here. So that is the only one event handler I have here, and the same event handler I'll be using for both of these different kind of events. If you want, you can create new event handler for each different event here and pass that to this subscribe method. Once subscription is done, it will return the token here to the subscriber. Next endpoint I have is publish endpoint, and this will be used by the publisher, and here I am taking publish payload. Let's see what is publish payload. Publish payload has only two things. One is type and another one is event. So type is what kind of event it is, so that is event type, and event is just the event data, so that is in form of string. Okay, so once we get this publish payload, the same thing we do what we did in subscribe. We just check the type, and based on that we publish it. So here what we are doing in publish, it will expect two parameters. One is event itself and another is event arguments. So for event arguments I did not have anything, so this is just empty. I just extended it from the event args. And here the get event, basically it is typecasting this string what we had as event from string to object. We are doing this typecasting here and passing this event object. So it will go to the publish, and we see in last time in publish what it will do. It will basically notify all those subscriber about this event. So this is publish, and this doesn't return anything. It is simple fire and forget kind of method we have. Nothing else is there in this microservice. So let's move on to another project. So this is the models.library project. So here you have seen already we have checked these two payloads, that is publish payload and subscribe payload, and there are other classes. So I think we don't need to get into details of all these models, because we are going to see these models as we move on to remaining projects. So these are the common models or classes, you can say, which are being used across these different projects in this project solution. Moving next to the publisher. So publisher has only one class, that is program, and this is a console application, so it doesn't do anything. It will just create one HTTP client, and this is the message broker base URL. So URL of this message broker or event bus, you can say, and basically it is creating a type of event called address change event, and it is posting these 10 messages or 10 events to this message broker. So we are creating object of this HTTP client, and we are creating object of this event. Every time we are adding this event ID and order ID, we are just incrementing it by 1 each of the time, and converting this event object into a string, and setting this event type in this publish payload. So type is address change event, and this event is basically this data of this event. So this is the message we are going to post. So this is the endpoint we seen in message broker project. So here I am posting it and just writing out the status code for each event. So there is nothing much on the publisher, it is just generating event, publishing the events to this message broker. Let's move on. The last one is the subscriber. So this is also a microservice. So subscriber, basically there are two important things. First, in this startup class, so whenever this service starts, at that time it would basically subscribe itself to the message broker. So here we have message broker URL and subscriber URL. So this is the URL of this service itself. So what we'll do here is we are creating HTTP client, and we are giving this base address as message broker URL, and then we'll create object of this subscribe payload. Again here we are giving type of event which we want to subscribe for, and this is the callback. So whenever this event, address change event occurs, that time how message broker is gonna contact me or call me. So this is the callback URL I'm giving, that is the subscriber's URL or URL of this service itself, and this is the receive endpoint we have in this microservice. So here I will show you, this is the receive event. It doesn't do anything, it will just take the payload and print it. So message broker or event bus is going to call this endpoint whenever this event occurs which this subscriber subscribe for. So this is the callback I'm preparing, and I want this post because my method is post. So that's why I'm telling the message broker to call me via post HTTP call. And here I'm just converting this subscribe payload into JSON, and then I'm just calling this subscribe endpoint of this message broker here in this, right? So this is gonna subscribe this subscriber. So once subscription is done, we are printing here services subscribe, or if it is not successful, then we are saying failed to subscribe. So this is the subscription we are doing while startup of this subscriber. Okay, so there is nothing much, only these two things are there. One is on startup and another is this notification controller we have already seen. So whenever this event bus has data, it will basically post that event to this endpoint, and we are simply printing it. The last one I have is event library.test. So here I have written some tests, so I think it is not required to go over each of these, but in an interview you will not have that much time to do this and all. I think just telling the interviewer, okay, these are the tests you will write for this event bus is enough. So I'm closing everything now. Now let's run this event bus and see how it works. So first we'll run this message broker microservice. So I'll just run using .NET. So now this is running on this localhost to 5000 port. Now I will run the subscriber. So running this subscriber, it will subscribe to this message broker. Yeah, so this is running on this port 5001. Now I'll go and run the publisher. So this publisher will publish the events, and the subscriber should be receiving the events. So it started publishing from 100. Let's see if subscriber is receiving. Yeah. So you can see this publisher is publishing, and the same time this subscriber is receiving all the events. So I published 10 and I have received 10 from 100 to 109. Let's run it one more time to show you. Yeah, so again I started from 100, and I'm keep on receiving these events. So this is how it works. So if you like the video, please share and subscribe the channel, and thanks for watching.